Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy. This is an unusual one because this is the first person that I've had appear on the podcast twice now. And also, this podcast marks to the day that I first started it 5 years ago during the crazy pandemic times. So yeah, this one here was actually quite fun. I'm actually stoked that Denis from Lovelovelove reached out and went for a second round. Because he's got a new release coming out on April 16th. It's a track called Pisces. And then another single after that, and then an EP. Anyway, we talk all about that sort of stuff in this podcast. So, do enjoy this chat that I have. There was a little bit of kind of internet cutout, so I'm going to have to edit that, but you'll figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, people of all sorts, this is Love, Love, Love. Rolling. Hello, Denis. How are you, man?
I'm keen to talk to you. I love talking to you. You're you're one of my favorite people to talk to doing this. So it's good to see you.
Oh, thanks, man. Firstly, why is there only one N in your name? Because it confuses the hell out of me. Because I'm always used to like two N's and a Dennis.
Yeah, I don't know. My parents just decided it would be a good idea. Which, strangely enough, like every other dentist I've ever met has only had one N,
Really?
and one of them's a traffic cop. Yeah, one of them's a traffic cop in Brisbane, and he's pulled me over twice for RBTs, and he's always goes, "Hey, you only have one N as well," and I go, "So you can let me off, surely." But,
Start a club of one N
yeah,
Dennis's.
yeah, yeah, dude.
All right. Firstly, we'll go with the moniker Love, Love, Love. Or Lover, 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 like I said last time. I do want to congratulate you on a few things. All right.
Oh, thanks.
Firstly, on the release of Pisces, which will be coming out on the 16th of April. I had to
Yes,
do a quick jog of the memory there because I thought, oh shit, he hasn't brought it out yet. No, he hasn't yet.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Whereas, I did listen to the earlier single, which has got a really, really long name.
Yes.
I think I love you.
Yeah. When I think of love, I
When I
think
think
of
of
you.
you.
Nice and long.
That's the one. Yeah, and you abbreviated the shit out of it in the film clip.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was getting too long.
So, congrats on that single doing pretty well, and also with the upcoming release of Pisces, which thank you for. That's my favorite star sign. But also, I'm doing a delve into some of the stuff that you've been able to achieve, particularly tying in with like thematic and that.
Yes.
And I went and had a look on it. I have no idea what this fucking thing is, so I'm gonna go have a look. And there you are on the
Yeah.
front
Cool.
page, listed with these other people. You're at the number one spot, man. I'm like, oh, okay, right. He's sort of cotton on to something here. This is cool as shit. So well done
Yeah,
on those
dude.
two counts.
Thank you so much. That's weird enough. You have maybe only mentioned thematic or have any idea what it is, and I think um, it's such a crazy platform because it's so unlike anything else. So
Mm.
thanks for noticing. But yeah, I'm kind of taken aback because no, people don't have any idea what it is. So that's really cool that you found that out.
Well, I was curious. I'll bring it up a little bit later because I do have some questions about uh, just your ethos, because you have a particular ethos with the way you do things. My main question right now, though, is that when we last spoke, also, you are the only person I've done two podcasts with in this
Oh wow,
whole stream of things, man. So
I'll take that.
we're up to episode 91. So you're the only one I've done twice.
Oh cool. I'm
Um,
on it. I'm on it.
cool. The last time we spoke, you were in full indie folk mode
Yes, sir.
and exploring that, and now you've just
Oh
come back to the indie pop thing. And I was going, okay,
yeah.
cool. So you found something, you expelled those demons that you wanted to do, and then you've basically come back. So I think you did explain this to me. It was like a very much like a something you had to do for yourself, the folk thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I knew this was going to come up because I remember you saying how much you were loving it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I did. I think I got it out of my system. I think, kind of looking back at it now,
Mm.
I was touring a lot with folk musicians, working a lot with folk musicians. I also kind of got thrown into this deep end where when the band first started, Jared, who was in Love of Love with me,
Yep.
handled a lot of the production duties, and then I kind of found my way. And I think it was just something I needed to do, and I don't think I'm completely finished doing it. But I don't think I'll do any like full length or like, you know, even short form stuff without kind of bringing the production elements back into it. I think I still kind of, like on the back of that EP last time we talked, I still released, I think, a Charlie XCX cover, which I then ended up folkifying as well. But yeah, I think I'm largely over maybe that phase, but still kind of in love with it. But I think just kind of, I feel like I went and explored that. So you're right. I probably expelled the indie folk demons for sure.
But I like you've come back around because you've got a knack for writing this indie pop stuff, bro. Like,
Thanks, man.
Pisces had definitely, like you said in your brief, it has a very much the 1975 as a bit of an influence coming through. So there is a bit of shoegazy kind of stuff that comes through as well. Because I've been getting hit with like I had to do 3 premieres I had to organise and that sort of stuff this week too. So I've been having to listen to all this music, and funnily enough, they're all tied together. And there's all this. I've said this earlier this year too. There was a resurgence of sort of shoegazy kind of stuff that's happening, which is really interesting. Yeah,
I feel like it's one of those genres that maybe for those of us who are drifting in those mid to late 20s, we kind of just missed it, right? Like we kind of just missed it. And then I think, you know, our generation has this massive reverence for referencing things from the 90s and 80s. But it's almost like that late 90s, early 2000s thing. We were all very young, so we're listening to a lot of probably what was, I don't know, very post-pop, almost punk influenced pop music, and we kind of missed it. And I think, I've just kind of opened back up to maybe listening to some new stuff and kind of being open to just ripping an electric guitar again also, which just felt pretty good. So, but yeah, good pickup. I definitely feel that in this song. So yeah.
So I'm guessing the whole EP, which is due out late in the year, I know you got another single to follow Pisces in May as well.
Yeah.
So is this continuing theme in the EP, or are you just diversifying a little bit?
I think it is and it isn't. It's there's a few songs that are kind of in this vein, and maybe this answers the folk question a little bit as well, is that maybe I've been able, I feel really bold saying it, but I feel like I've found, at least for me, a really happy space maybe between the two. So it's definitely a continuing theme. There's definitely at least, 1 to 2 other songs that have this same kind of energy and vibe and instrumentation. But I think because this EP was a little bit more of a seasonal piece, like I felt like after the folk EP, I took a bit of a break just for myself to kind of reorient. And I think coming back to this particular phase, it's kind of in between probably what I've done. It's kind of this happy medium. So similar vibe, but then there's also another song on there that will just be on the EP. It's called War Made the Cigarette. Similar, another long title. Obviously, I'm having a bit of a long title thing, but it's probably much more on the Gang of Youth side, which I think is also maybe, something else I've kind of come across that I just somehow missed. But so kind of excited for everyone to hear the different vibes. But I think if I had to say a favorite song, Pisces would probably be it. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit as well.
Fair call. It's a solid track, man. I got to take it in twice over the weekend amongst the other stuff I've been doing. So yeah, and yeah, I liked the previous single because I liked the jangleness of it, and also props for using Frank's studio, man, on the sunny coast.
Yeah, dude, love it.
I used that with High Tropics like a couple of years ago. It was such a cool studio to set up. But
absolutely,
the sort of slightly darker tones in Pisces is what really I'm always a sucker for that kind of sort of stuff. So
yeah, sick.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, cool, man. Glad you like it.
So I'm going to go back to this whole DIY ethos thing because
man,
you are like, I know I have a few people that I know that are close to me that have a very strong DIY ethic as well, but man, you're pretty relentless with how you approach. So for those that are coming up through the industry, like young musicians and that don't want to drop coin on a publicist because it can be expensive.
Yes.
And you know that.
Oh yeah.
How much of a workload is it to take on? Like, I know this personally, but I want to hear from you. How much of a workload is it to take on when you're doing your own campaign, researching shit like thematic, doing your pitching for your streams, doing your pitching to someone like me, doing all that sort of stuff, how much of it is part of the workload?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question. I think to answer the first part of that, a hell of a lot. Like it's a lot. It's. I think what I really like struggle with the whole process, like you said, is kind of wearing all the different hats, and I feel like I've got myself to a point where in the start and maybe around the last EP, I probably did wear pretty much every hat there was to wear, making the music, mixing, mastering, then trying to very much separate yourself and be like, that part of the process is done, but you're not done. And I think that's probably the hardest part is getting over, for me, when I'm making a season, like particularly this last EP, it's very seasonal. I get very toey around the time I know the EP might not be done, but the singles are done, and I've got to start emailing, people who I want to talk to. It becomes a bit of a maze. So I think time around I've learnt absolutely finish the project first, be the artist, and then put on the other hats. And I think you've summed it up well. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's maybe verbal commitments, but then things not following through. And I think it's been a hell of a journey to do that. And I think for anyone looking to do it themselves, I would say absolutely. I think it's actually something you should do to start off with, because even if you choose to go down the PR route later on, even if you choose to go down the label route or hire a really good publicist, I think having kind of an idea of what's out there and how it works and how it's going to benefit you has probably been my greatest win from that. Is now I know, and as we go on, inevitably, I think it's funny that you bring it up, because I think I'm probably never been closer to hiring someone to do that stuff for me, because this project took me like 8 months, 6 to 8 months to actually finish. And knowing I've still got another single to promote after this one, and then I've got the EP to promote is I'm shaking my boots a little bit, just from a time point of view, as even just as a normal human being who has to work and has relationships and friends and stuff like. But honestly, kudos to people like you, who I think you're the people we keep coming back to and know we can rely on. And there's a handful of people who they're first on my list. You being one of them is just. Because, like I said, that process of learning how do they do it, how do they operate, is it not worth my time, but is it going to follow the kind of plan that I have?
Yeah.
And so, I think you learn who your contacts are and the guys are. But to be honest, you also learn that every 6 months it changes. Like I've got people I emailed a few years ago who no longer work there, or and that's another whole part of it where I think I take my hat off to people who run PR campaigns for a living, because it's a lot of emails, man.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I know that. I mean, me personally, I've just done a small campaign for my own solo single, and I know how much I actually just didn't want to pour all that effort into it. Did the press release, had the EP, and basically sent a few press releases out.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, you know what? I'm. This is just a small thing. This is just for me. I'm putting it out there. If someone wants to grab hold of it, cool.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing is jumping onto AMRAP nearly every night, and then going through all the broadcasters and basically finding out who would work, find their contact details, stalk them. If they've got their email, they're cool. Just do it. I've got a template there, pitch through. If it sticks, it sticks. I mean, I've had a few radio plays from that, and that's cool, because community radio is the lifeblood of fucking independent music in Australia.
100%.
But a lot of people don't realize.
And I think what you've summed up there is that, for sure. And I think you've summed it up even better, I think, than I could in saying that, like, you learn what's going to work for you, and like jumping on ANRAP and having a listen. That's the perfect example of the small thing you can do that doesn't cost you any money, and it just requires that little 10% more effort.
Yeah,
it's fairly tangible in terms of where does it always work, and it does take a lot of time. You're going to get knocked back all the time. But I just think in an industry where we're so aware of things like the cost of living, very aware of not wanting to perpetuate unfair wages or take advantage of anyone either, because it's an industry that's had that stigma. I think learning how to do these things for yourself early before you maybe jump into the pond of options. Save a little bit of money, and I feel like it's a little bit rich saying work hard, because we know that's something that we all need to do, but just take that extra couple of minutes every day if you can, and just scout out and see what works for you. So that's a cool approach. So now we've talked about it, so now inevitably I have to go and I'm going to be curious by that, and so we learn.
Oh yeah, the one thing that gets me is the content creation aspect of things, and how much time it actually gobbles up.
Yeah, it's a never-ending beast is how I like to describe it. Like it's one of those things that I feel like, for me, as someone who probably wasn't a super early adopter of it in the music space, it's not, it was kind of an afterthought. It feels a lot like the PR thing. Like, I feel like every time I feel like I'm kind of on the way to things making sense, it just doesn't work, and then it changes again, and it's even faster than PR, I think. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing, and once again, it's another hat you have to wear, unfortunately. But I feel like if you can whittle your way into doing how you want it, then it's just a lot more enjoyable, I guess.
So going back to Pisces, and basically also the EP, which I'm guessing centers around some of this. You did this in the folk one too. You kept on drawing back around existentialism. So is that a common current theme for you?
Admitting that it is a commonly occurring theme for me seems really funny, but absolutely. I think I did. I probably didn't realize it. It was probably more subconscious, and I think in this one it's been conscious. So I think the last one was probably kind of whittled underneath everything, and I didn't really maybe become self-aware of it. And I think this time around,
it's more obvious.
I'd say like it's probably it's the core. I'd say it's the core theme of the EP, and that's why probably Pisces is a great song to have kind of in the guts of it all, because it kind of centers all around that for sure.
Yeah, I have my basically my half-hour drive to work every morning, and yeah, pretty much I get stuck in an existential loop most of the time. So yeah, I can relate to that kind of stuff. Particularly when you're listening to podcasts where they're discussing the formation of the universe, or like how grandiose
Love it.
everything is in relation to your minuscule speck of a life. When you think everything that's happening to you right now and right here is so dramatic or whatever, and in the scheme of things, it's just a fucking blip.
100%. And I think, like, I should have maybe brought this up, but I think that's like, I mean, that's existentialism, right? That's what you've explained it perfectly. And I think I only really became conscious of it as a result of actually feeling impacted by it. I think, like I said previously, it was probably like a bit of a subconscious thing where I was like, oh, maybe this kind of sucks, and does this really matter, or does anything really matter? But I think this time around, it's a way more conscious experience. Like I was saying before, this is a little bit more of like a period piece, or like a season in my life where I've become so aware of it through lots of different things, and I feel like I touch on all of them in the EP. But probably from about June last year through to about New Year's, New Year's Day, I'm probably the most existential I've ever been. Like, people in my life passed away, had friends move away, friends come back, and I've kind of had that thought you're having, while you're driving, where I'm going, hang on, everything keeps moving around me, but I'm still here.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm doing the same shit I've been doing for like 4 years. Like, does any of it matter? What am I doing?
Well, I had those same thoughts with writing for the solo project of mine, and I actually have a question, because I posed it on that particular project's socials, and I actually got a really interesting response, because I'm not a vocalist, right? I'm a bassist and a multi-instrumentalist, but bassist first and foremost. But I have to now take on this role as a vocalist. So my previous single that I released, I had someone else do vocals for me, a friend of mine, who nailed it, and love him to death for what he did, and it was great. But it's now my turn to step up the plate and actually do it. And I've
Yeah.
been in the recording process. I've written some lyrics and I'm happy with them, but I was having trouble finding my voice. So and people understood the question. It's not the technicality of it all. It's actually finding your personality in the voice that you're trying to do. So how did you find your voice? That's what I have to ask.
Yeah, great question. I think there's probably two. One would just be kind of what we all do, which is, that imitation thing until we fail.
Yep.
And yeah, and that's obviously just the core of it. Just I remember I listened to some video of myself, 16-year-old, playing some songs that I learnt, and I would sing them in an English accent. And I think I'm presuming that just comes from, like, you know, James Bay was a huge influence of mine.
Well, this is the
So
thing.
there's that part of it.
I started developing an accent when I was doing the
Yeah.
vocal takes. I'm just going, where the fuck is this coming from?
Yeah.
So thank you for justifying and verifying that actually is a thing.
It's so. I think the second. That's so funny. I love it. The second part of it, I think, came from me in this weird space of writing. So I feel like there's times I enter the writing space with a clear intention or clear vision of what I would like to say and what I would like to do. And that's awesome. But I found that part of it didn't actually start making sense until I started doing I call it the John Mayer Ouija board. I don't know. It's just something I call it. But where there's this video of him on Zane Lowe. He gets his guitar and Zane's, how do you write a song? And he goes, well, you have to not be afraid to do this one thing. And that's actually pick up the instrument and just whatever comes off the dome, just say it. And I remember being, maybe a few years ago, just especially around the first EP, like just trying to write all this music. Like I said, I've got a weird singing accent, haven't really found my voice. I can hear my voice in other people's voices. But I think when I just got comfortable sitting down with the guitar and then just going off the top of my head, that I found that to be a pretty comfortable place.
Yeah.
And then I remember voice messaging that a lot to Jared or whoever was involved in the music process. And I think over time, the mixture of recording, singing to yourself, and then also kind of listening to it back and going, oh yeah, that's it. Like that's actually it. And then that first part I mentioned about, like, you start to hear it and it makes sense and it feels authentic. That just starts happening. Well, happened for me anyway, organically, just from kind of being willing to, like, just put your money where your mouth is, I guess, from a not even that, but just being brave enough to pick up a guitar and just go, what's kind of come out, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
and I think that's how I found mine anyway.
So, like, one of mine aspects was trying to get past the cringe aspect of things. Like, listen to your own voice and just going, it's not right. I mean, going back to the accent thing, I started, because it's kind of a rappy kind of verse, and I started adopting a Cockney accent. And I'm just going,
yeah, right.
I got to get rid of that. That's not what I want to do, okay? And it just kept coming out. I was doing vocals earlier today, that's why my voice is a little bit funny, but and because I haven't been doing it properly. But I got past that. I got past all that sort of stuff. But one of the responses I got when I asked that question was actually from a friend of mine. I'm in his band, and he gave a brilliant response. He said the way he learnt it's basically conversational. Use your conversation voice and then you adopt it to a singing sort of style in that sense.
Yes.
I'm actually really paraphrasing it and dumbing it right down. He did go into detail into doing it, but he said start from there, and that's where you learn where your voice is at. And I went, beautiful. That's actually a really good point.
I think it's even that moment where you're having in your head where you can identify that what that other voice sounds like isn't you, is probably an awesome indicator that to anyone that, like, you're on the right path, because if you're going, oh, that's not really what I want to sound like, it means you're at least, it's that first step of, like, okay, this isn't quite what I think it should be. But then I'm sure, like what your mate's saying, I think that's probably the best place to start. It's just, this is what I sound like, and I need to become comfortable with this being my voice. And my voice is, deserves to be, heard at least in the way that I feel it needs to be heard. So I think that's great advice. Hell yeah.
Going back to last year, you managed to sneak onto the Big Sound lineup. How'd you find that?
Oh yeah, dude. That was I wasn't playing. Which I mean I've been applying for a long time, so it was a little bit sort of just it is what it is. And yeah, and then got the call up last minute about like a month out, just saying someone from the shortlist pulled out. Like, do we want to play? Are we available? And I had a really good time. I've spoken to a few people about Big Sound, and it's such an interesting experience. it's an interesting time because everyone in the industry is there, and when I mean everyone, it's everyone. Of a bunch of different people, all at very different places. But I think for me, I had a really great time experiencing the energy, being around, and I think for me, I just had some good mentors going into it as well. From Jara has always been amazing with advice for things like this, and she kind of just said to me, Den, we see people do this every year, and if you think that a deal is going to be on the table in one of these formal meetings, it's probably just going to have to read. You're just going to run into someone, and so I really like that part of it because that probably works a little bit more with my personality and just the kind of way I like to do things. But it was really cool, I think, for me as well to get to see everyone else play in a similar space. And I think a lot of my friends are on the lineup or people that I know. Dizzy Days, those girls, I think I recorded Aisling back at uni. Yeah, I recorded her back at uni before Dizzy Days was a thing, and it's always been really cool to see people 3 or 4 years in still doing it. And I think maybe the most camaraderie element of it is that you all know that everyone's grinding. Like it's not this thing of just anyone gets on the lineup.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the criteria are, but I think the vibe I got from it was it's the small guys, it's those of us who, what we're doing is with a little bit of energy and time, it's quite scalable and it can go somewhere. And I think it's experience has just been awesome. And maybe it was I also maybe home at 1 a.m. every night. I'm back in the morning at 7, sleep in the van at lunchtime. But just packing it all in, doing as much as I can without being stupid. And I think the people I met.
Yeah.
So
I know a lot of
time.
people.
Yeah.
Can, because I've done Big Sound both as an artist and as media and as a punter, quite a few times, and I know it's a very overwhelming experience, and it's such a whirlwind kind of thing that happens, and you're caught up in the rush of things. And sometimes you worry that you're screwing up here or whatever like that. But yeah, I'm glad that you got to have that, man. That's really cool for you.
Yeah, it was like you said. I think just got to go into it with good intentions and pace yourself for sure. Pace yourself.
So what's the plan with the EP when it comes out?
Yeah, man. So yeah, Pisces comes out. Then it comes out in May, like you said. EP comes out in June 11th. I actually haven't said that anywhere yet, so
breaking news.
I guess that reward the long listeners and breaking news. Yeah, and then it's sort of been teased, but I'm going to go on a big tour with Lottie McLeod. Lottie and I become good friends recently, and just a great move to make. So we're going to play Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Wollongong, maybe Byron. Just kind of waiting on that one, and then. Yeah, I guess the whole idea of that is to promote the EP. Lottie's got an awesome EP coming out as well. I've listened to some of the songs and it's awesome. I love it. So yeah, cool shows on the way as well. So I think doing like a head start out, like it all hinging on supports, it's going to. I'm pretty excited to play the songs. I think particularly Pisces, we played it once, and every time I play it, I just go that again. So that's the plan, man.
Awesome stuff, Denis. I'm going to call it here, man. I always love chatting to you. The last chat we had was amazing too. So, and you're a great guest to have on. You hang on the line there. I'll have a quick debrief with you. Pisces comes out April 16th.
Cool.
Half-Life comes out in May, and then the EP comes out in June. So yeah, good luck with it all, man. I really appreciate your work ethic.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
For everyone else, this has been Love, Love,
Thanks.
Love, and bye. Big love. Big love to Dennis for doing that one. Always good chats with that dude. Super smart and so tapped in to what he's doing. Pisces is a great track. Look out for it when it comes out on April 16th. Excuse me. And I do hope you really enjoyed that one. Let's keep these one podcasts rolling. Happy 91st podcast in 5 years. To the Point Music Podcast. Thanks for listening in. And yeah, we'll see what comes up next. Thank you for supporting local music, live music, Australian music, all sorts of music. You guys are legends.